morning. Today we're going to move on to our next body system, our circulatory system. This one gets a little complicated, so I'm going to break it down into chunks or pieces, just like I would do if we were in class. Today you're not going to have any written assignment to go with my instruction. What I want you to do is concentrate on making sure you understand the material I present to you today. So as you're watching through the various videos, and there's going to be 3 today that I'm going to ask you to watch, please make sure you Google message me, email me, call me on the phone if you don't understand the material that I've presented up to this point. We're going to spend 3 days on the circulatory system. So today, Wednesday, and Thursday, and each activity will build upon the one from the day before. So it's important, and I've called a few of you and mentioned to a few of you as well on Google Message, that you try to work through these assignments in order. Don't skip around, because if you go to the last day, you're going to be really confused on the material, because I am taking it in chunks and slowly building. So make sure, even if you don't start your assignments on the first day, always start with the first assignment I gave to you. So what we're going to concentrate on today is we're going to take the functions of the circulatory system and discuss them, and also try to see if we can figure out how it interacts with the respiratory system. And we're also going to look at one of the main structures. I'll introduce you to all 3 of the structures that make up the circulatory system, but we're going to focus on one, the most important one, the main one, which is the heart. So following this video where I'm chatting with you face to face, I guess we can say, there'll be another video where I'm going to discuss 2 different diagrams. Normally you'd be completing these diagrams in class, but I have completed them for you, and we'll discuss them with you to make sure you understand the role the heart plays in the circulatory system and the different parts of the heart, because it's a very complicated muscle in our body. So first of all, let's get to the functions. If you see my eyes drift off, as always, I have notes in front of me so I don't miss anything important, because it's not like in class where I can say, wait a minute, I forgot that. So I want to make sure I cover everything that I need to. So the function of the circulatory system is kind of what the name of the system sounds like, circulation. It's going to circulate or transport things throughout our body. So what kind of materials or what kind of things are being transported? The first thing that we think of when we think of materials that our cells need are going to be nutrients. So nutrients, water, and oxygen are all going to be carried to our body cells so the cells can perform the functions that they need. Then it also carries away wastes from the cells that the cells make. And when we talk in terms of waste, we're not talking about waste like going to the bathroom. That's different body system, okay? We're talking about carbon dioxide as the waste. So it transports what the cells needs: oxygen, water, nutrients. It takes away what the cells make as waste that the body doesn't need: carbon dioxide. It's also going to transport blood between the heart and the lungs about 1,000 times a day. So here's that interaction between circulatory and respiratory system. So we know that the respiratory system helps put put oxygen into our blood and take carbon dioxide out of our blood. Well, now our circulatory system is going to move this oxygen-rich blood to our body, to the cells that need it, and take that waste product, that carbon dioxide, and move it out. So there's that interaction between 2 systems. Since systems don't work independently, they interact with one another. The other kind of interesting thing that our circulatory system is going to do is help fight disease. So when we talk about viruses, the circulatory system is going to be part of the system that helps us fight disease. Our immune system obviously is number 1 with that, but the circulatory system is going to work closely with the immune system to help fight disease and infection, and also maintain a stable body temperature, which is interesting to think about. The 3 structures of our circulatory system is our heart, our blood vessels, and our blood. Our vessels in our blood we'll talk about tomorrow. We'll talk about the different types of blood vessels, what they do, and we'll also talk about what makes up our blood, because there are different parts of our blood which you might not know about, and each part of our blood serves a different function. But I want to concentrate on our heart, the main structure. Now, from the muscular system, you should remember that the heart is a muscle. And not only is it a muscle, it's the hardest working muscle in our body. It's working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And hopefully you also remember that it's an involuntary muscle, meaning we don't have control over it. I'm not sitting here thinking about my heart beating, okay? It does it automatically without us thinking. It's an involuntary muscle. So it's beating in and out. It's pumping blood between our heart and lungs all day long, every day, without us thinking about it. So that's a pretty amazing thing when you take a moment to sit back and think about some of the functions in our body that are happening involuntarily without us having any control over. The heart is a very interesting muscle because it has different parts to it. So the heart has atriums, and there's two of them because your heart actually has a left and a right side, which we will break down when we look at this diagram. And it has two atriums, which are that's good English, over here at the top. And it has two ventricles, which are at the bottom. And then you see some other kind of funky structures here. This structure right here is known as your aorta. And your aorta is your main artery in your body. And what this does is it takes blood that has oxygen and delivers it to the body parts. Because you might notice that you have here a color-coded diagram. And what this represents is your oxygen-rich side of your heart and your oxygen-poor side of your heart. So the part here that is in blue, which is the right side of your heart, is oxygen poor. The part that's colored in red is oxygen rich, and that's the left side of your heart. So that aorta, this interesting looking artery, which is one of your blood vessels, carries oxygen rich blood to your body parts that need it. You have another interesting artery here, which is called the pulmonary artery. So it's this artery here. And that pulmonary artery, because it's oxygen poor, which means it doesn't have a lot of oxygen, has to go somewhere with that oxygen poor blood to make it oxygen rich. Where do you think it's going to go? It's going to go to the lungs. And it's going to pick up oxygen from the lungs, right? Remember, the alveoli put oxygen into our blood. So this oxygen poor blood gets sent to the lungs to pick up oxygen, because we don't want carbon dioxide circulating throughout our blood, right? We want to get that out of our body. So again, there's that interaction between the circulatory system and respiratory system. So again, the right side of the heart, oxygen poor, that's why it's shaded in blue. And you have an atrium, which is the right atrium, a ventricle called the right ventricle, and your pulmonary artery, also oxygen poor blood, but will carry that oxygen poor blood to the lungs to pick up oxygen. The left side of our heart, oxygen rich, which is why it's shaded in red, your left atrium, your left ventricle, and the main artery in our body, the aorta, which is already rich in oxygen. So it takes that oxygen-rich blood and delivers it to the parts of our body, circulates it to the parts of our body. So again, we're seeing interactions. We're seeing that blood moving. Blood moves between the heart and the lungs, and then it's circulated throughout the body when it's oxygen-rich. So kind of cool. Again, remember, this is a muscle. It is our hardest working muscle in our body. Between the atriums and the ventricles, there are little valves here that open and close to allow the flow of blood from the atriums to the ventricles. When we talk about our heart beating and also about our heart pumping the blood, it does that through muscle contractions and relaxations. Remember, muscles work in pairs. So as the muscles relax and contract, it's going to cause your heartbeat and it's going to cause that blood to pump. So I'm going to just read this from here because it makes more sense if I read it as a whole. It says, blood is pumped in and out of the heart and between the heart and lungs and the heart and body through muscle contractions. When the two atria, now these are the atria, your atriums, your right atrium, your left atrium. When the two atriums relax and contract and the two ventricles, right ventricle, left ventricle, relax and contract, a complete sequence known as a heartbeat takes place. This is how blood moves through the body and is pumped between the heart and the lungs. So it's those muscles working in pairs. The two atrium, the two ventricles, relaxing and contracting. When that happens, when the two atria relax and contract and the two ventricles relax and contract, there's your heartbeat. There is the blood flowing to your body and flowing between your heart and your lungs. So a very dynamic organ. Again, you have to remember we have a left side, right side shaded in blue, oxygen poor. Left side shaded in red, oxygen rich. That oxygen rich blood gets delivered to your body cells through that main artery, that funky looking artery known as the aorta. The oxygen poor blood needs to go somewhere to pick up oxygen. Where's it going? It's going to the lungs to pick up oxygen. And it does that through the pulmonary artery. In the next video, I will go over in more detail the atriums and the ventricles, so you'll be looking at this diagram in the correct way so you can read the words. So please tune in for that one. Don't tune me out. These first two videos are probably the most important. Following these videos, don't forget, I am here to answer any questions. It's very complicated. Watch them as many times as you need to get the information out that you need. Google message me, call me, we can talk about it. And of course, tomorrow we are going to review this section and then I'll add on the new piece. Have a great day. Tune in to video 2, Heart Diagram and Circulatory System Loops Explained. Thanks.